Aussie.
Hello, Helen.
This is Aussie. I'm Helen, and we are going to share with you today a little bit on how to create your own podcast. We have here at IDAN for the past year or so been really stepping up our game in regards with podcasts, and we feel it's a really great way to reach a broader audience on very specific topics.
Yeah.
So Aussie, he is our specialist in this area, qualified sound engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Correct.
And also you have a degree in construction management.
Correct.
Ooh, great.
You got it.
I got it. So Aussie, take it away. How to create your own podcast.
Yeah. So, like Helen said, I've been around in this field, and I just wanna go quickly over the most easiest way to create your own podcast. Of course, with the pro option available.
Yeah, because you can do it kind of
you
cheap.
can. Yeah.
Not in a negative way, but and then you can take it to a higher.
You can do it really cost effective, but also qualitative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great.
So these are the 6 ideas about how to create your own podcast. And the first one is obviously choose a topic. Mm-hmm. So the topic, if it is a storytelling podcast, then you might have a different topic every episode. But if it's on educational purposes, then it's probably the same in every episode, but with a different interviewee. You obviously need a name for your podcast. So, and you want to choose a name that describes the overall idea about the podcast.
In Icelandic, our podcast is
how do you say æblink in the industry?
Augnablik í iðnaði. It's like a
blink of an eye.
A blink of an eye in industry.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a direct translation.
Yeah. So the second option there is the episode format, and the episode format it differs from show to show, and I'm gonna say this. I'm not the only person in the world that has listened to a podcast show. You probably have also, so you might know the typical form of a podcast show. But I'm just gonna run through it anyway. So you might want to start with an intro music. Then this applies to maybe the more popular podcast where they list their sponsors right after the intro music. Mm-hmm. Then they go on and introduce the interviewee or the topic they're about to talk about. Then which follows by the actual content or the interview itself. Then they sum up in the end and finish with an outro music. So this is the typical story line. So you want to have some kind of cover art, because if it's on Spotify or some other media services, you need to have a picture. If you don't have a picture, people might scroll through your podcast. Intro and outro music. There are a lot of ways to do this. If you're a musician, you can do it yourself. But there are stock media services out there on the internet. For example, the one I use called artlist.com, where you license your own music. It doesn't mean that you own the music. It means that you're allowed to use it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important to have this, above board.
Yeah, definitely. This is not expensive. I think it's like $10-15 a month, and you can download just as many songs as you like. There are cheaper options. You can of course always Google free music. But then again, on YouTube, there are some artists that upload their music and call it license-free music, free-to-use music. Often very good quality.
So many options.
Yeah. Then we're on to the equipment selection. I could go on about that all day.
Your favorite.
Yeah, it's my favorite. And then I want to talk a little bit about the recording itself and the editing stage. So on to the equipment selection. I just came up with the 3 most obvious equipments. You can always use your own laptop and just use the microphone on your laptop. Of course, that's not the best quality, but it gets you somewhere.
It gets you somewhere, yeah. But like you've also said, that if the quality isn't so good, then that might often be the listener will like, I can't be bothered listening to this. So it's
might
important.
Result in you turning off that podcast. And you can always get a USB microphone pretty cheap, just in your local electronic store. And they are often quite good. They surprise. They come in as a surprise all the time. Then we have the Zoom recorder. They have Zoom H1 up till H8, and they differ in prices up, depending on how high you go. This one, H6, is probably the most common one. It has 4 inputs. It also has an XY microphone setup on the top, which means you can put it on the table and it records in 45 degrees angles.
And this one's also portable, so that's kind of like a plus as well.
Yeah, it has a great battery life, and you can record high quality anywhere you like. With this gadget, you of course the computer option, you might need to do a lot on the editing stage. You need to add the intro music. You need to mix and master the voices, and might need to trim the silence, and stuff like that. But with the Rodecaster Pro, you can sort of choreography the
whole interview beforehand.
Pretty much. You have 4 microphone inputs on this, 4 headphone outputs. You can hook up your computer to it. You can hook up your phone to it via Bluetooth, which means you can call somebody, or you can do an interview through Teams or Zoom or whatever. And then you also have these buttons on the right side where you can cue the intro music, you can cue the outro music, or some sounds, some silly sounds, or whatever, applause, or whatever you like.
Exactly,
and with this gadget, you can pretty much just have a ready show by the time you press stop. And it also has these effects built into it, compressor and EQ, which makes you sound more like you're on the radio.
Yes, more professional.
More professional, yes, exactly. So they differ in price, of course. Then we have the microphones. Like I said before, you can always just go to your local electronics store and get the next USB microphone. They do surprise you in quality, and you can hook that up to anything you like. Then you have the Rode Procaster microphone, which you can get as a bundle. You can get the mixer and the microphone as a bundle package, and they are actually really good microphones. They are not singing microphones. They're only speech microphones.
So you cannot break out in song.
No. They are not recommended for recording music.
But we are using these microphones here.
And they sound incredible. Really good compared to the price. And then you have the Shure SM7B, which is probably the most common microphone in speech today. All these Storytel books, podcasts, they use this equipment, but they are pricey.
Yeah.
So, on to the editing part. This is a free software called Audacity. It's completely free and you have everything you need in it. It supports both Apple and Windows. And there you can see somebody has imported a stereo audio file there. And you can trim, you can cut, you can add audio, you can export it into MP3 or whatever you need. And it's pretty easy to use.
Yeah, it's really familiar. Also the tokens.
So it's the environment, the Windows environment.
Exactly.
This one is free. This one is also free, and it comes with all Apple computers today. GarageBand. It's pretty easy to use, and you can always then Google it. Google how to use it.
Yes, how to use YouTube, how to use GarageBand, and then you'll get
exactly. And it's really easy to use, and you just import audio, trim it, cut it, and so on. Then on to the more pro software options. The one on the left is called Logic Pro X. It's the one I use every day.
Mr. Apple Man.
Yeah, yep. Mr. Apple Man. I think you need to buy it. I've never paid for it. Not illegally. I'm not speaking illegally. I've just had it comes with the job.
With the job, work. Yeah.
And it's really easy to use. It's the same, exactly the same setup as GarageBand, but you have more options.
Yeah.
And then the one on the right is called Reaper software, and that one is completely free. It's industry standard software. People are actually using it in
big productions.
Big productions. Famous producers, famous musicians, they are using it, and it's free. And then the one in the middle called Pro Tools, which is probably the most common one. And they are all supported by Apple.
And
but
Windows.
You can't have Logic on Windows, the one on the left. Then when you have
you have to get it out there.
You have put together a podcast, you have recorded it, you have edited it, and then you need to distribute it. And there are options here, 3 options. The one on the left called Podbean or Buzzsprout, they are pretty much similar. They do the same thing. You pay for it. I can't remember how much. It's around $10 usually.
Usually everything is around $10 a month.
$10 to $15, just the Netflix price. And they distribute it for you. They send it to Spotify, Apple Podcast or Google Podcast and all the other media services out there.
And that's kind of an advantage, because then you don't really have to think about how to get it out in different media. So,
that's true. And you can also follow the stats, how many people are listening, the age group that are listening.
So there's some data analytics behind there. So
so you can, exactly. And then you have SoundCloud, which is free.
That's actually what we're using at this point. So,
I don't think we have our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast or anything.
That's, I think, something we should look into.
Yeah, definitely. But this is a free option. You just musicians are using this a lot. I didn't know until when I started here. They were using it for podcasts as well. But it's actually a pretty good idea because it's a quite popular service. SoundCloud.
SoundCloud, definitely. Yeah.
So to sum up, we've gone over the topic and the name, the episode format, the cover art, intro music, outro music, equipment, audio recording, editing, and distribution.
Yeah, and the kind of like, you can start cheap, go up, or there are different ways to do this, and I think that's really the message here. And but it's important to choose the topic and prepare the interviewee what questions are going to be asked, so that he can be prepared before he comes into the podcast, and that makes things much smoother and easier. So,
exactly.
And just have fun with it. Aussie and I are having fun with it. So
Don't overcomplicate it.
No, don't overcomplicate it. That's definitely a good message to take home. So thanks from me, Helen.
Yeah, thanks. And if there are any questions, you're welcome to send me an email.
Yep.
I'll put it down here.
Yep. And mine as well. So Bye.
Bye-bye.